In a country where boxing is religion and soccer is king, Alexa Grasso chose a different path. One paved with spinning kicks and the quiet certainty of a girl who never needed to shout to be heard. This isn't just the story of Mexico's first UFC women's champion. This is the story of discipline disguised as sweetness, of revolutions waged in whispers. Born August 9, 1993, Alexa wasn't pushed into fighting, she was born for it. While other girls played with dolls, she studied Bruce Lee films frame by frame. Her parents, middle-class office workers, worried until they saw her in the gym. A 60-pound girl outworking grown men, her strikes crisp as winter air. By 12, she'd exhausted every striking coach in Jalisco. By 16, she was sparring with UFC veterans. The hype was instant. The Mexican Joanna champion, they called her, but Alexa just kept her head down and her hands up. The storm was coming. The UFC signed her at 22, a marketing dream. But the octagon is no fairy tale. A weight miss against Felicia Herrig, a brutal loss to Tatiana Suarez's wrestling. The whispers started, all flash, no substance. What they didn't see. The girl who moved to Albuquerque to train at 4,000 feet, who spent mornings drilling takedown defense until her knees bled. Alexa didn't reinvent herself, she refined herself. The hands got sharper, the ground game suddenly dangerous. When she tapped Ji-yeon Kim with a slick armbar in 2020, the message was clear. This storm wasn't just passing through. Alexa Grasso, Mexico's flyweight sensation, has crafted an electrifying UFC career with razor-sharp striking, a blossoming grappling game, and a 16-5-1 record as of May 2025, boasting 4 knockouts and 2 submissions. Her journey began in 2016 at UFC Fight Night 98 in Mexico City, facing Heather Jo Clark. At 23, Grasso captivated her home crowd, unloading 94 significant strikes with boxing as fluid as a Guadalajara sunset, earning a unanimous decision and sparking roars from fans waving Mexican flags. In 2017, she clashed with Felicia Herrig at UFC Fight Night 104, where Herrig's cagey pressure smothered Grasso's 63 strikes, leading to a unanimous decision loss that taught her to adapt. Grasso's resilience roared back at UFC Fight Night 114 against Randa Marcos, where she landed 82 pinpoint strikes, weaving through Marcos's takedowns to secure a split decision, the arena echoing with Mexico chants. In 2018, Angela Hill's 139th strike barrage at UFC Fight Night 135 outpaced Grasso's 97, revealing defensive gaps in a unanimous decision loss. Undaunted, Grasso faced Karolina Kowalkiewicz at UFC 238 in 2019. Her hands a blur with 104 strikes, earning a unanimous decision that left the crowd buzzing about her potential. Later that year, Carla Esparza's wrestling at UFC Fight Night 159 neutralized Grasso's 112 strikes, resulting in a majority decision loss that fueled her drive to bolster her ground game. In 2020, Grasso transitioned to flyweight at UFC Fight Night 175 against Ji-yeon Kim, dancing through the cage with 133 significant strikes and shrugging off takedowns, cruising to a unanimous decision that marked her arrival in the division. In 2021, she outboxed Macy Barber at UFC 258, landing 88 strikes with surgical precision, outsmarting Barber's aggression for a unanimous decision. Grasso's 2022 breakout came against Joanne Wood at UFC Fight Night 204, where she snapped on a first-round rear naked choke at 357, her first UFC finish, earning a performance of the night bonus as the crowd erupted. Later that year, she battled Viviane Araujo at UFC Fight Night 212, landing 149 strikes and stuffing 9 of 10 takedowns, securing a unanimous decision that solidified her as a title contender. Her crowning moment came at UFC 285 in 2023 against flyweight queen Valentina Shevchenko. A plus 6'10" underdog, Grasso absorbed Shevchenko's punishing kicks, landed 59 strikes, and shocked the world with a 4th-round face-crank submission at 434, becoming Mexico's first female UFC champion and ending Shevchenko's 1,547-day reign. The arena exploded, fans chanting, "Grasso, Grasso," as she raised the belt, a beacon for Mexican MMA alongside Brandon Moreno. Their 2023 rematch at UFC Fight Night, Grasso vs. Shevchenko, 2 was a heart-pounding split draw, Grasso's 84 strikes matching Shevchenko's 80 in a fight so close it left fans screaming for a trilogy. In 2024, Shevchenko reclaimed the title at UFC 306, dominating with wrestling to outland Grasso 87-45 in a unanimous decision, per Forbes, a setback that tested Grasso's resolve. Her latest fight, at UFC 315 on May 10, 2025, pitted her against Natalia Silva. Silva's blistering speed and angles overwhelmed Grasso, who landed 78 strikes to Silva's 112, falling to a unanimous decision, per Yahoo Sports. Across 14 UFC fights, Grasso's 1,108 significant strikes, 54.8% accuracy, and 6.5 strikes absorbed per minute, UFCstats.com, highlight her striking mastery, though her 1-2-1 title fight record exposes wrestling vulnerabilities. At 31, Grasso's journey, honed in a Guadalajara gym with her sister and fueled by Mexican pride, has made her a global inspiration. Her post-fight humility, like thanking fans in Spanish, and her role as a trailblazer for Latinas in MMA keep her beloved. With whispers of a Shevchenko trilogy or a showdown with Erin Blanchfield, Grasso's next move is eagerly awaited. March 4, 2023. The world expected a sacrificial lamb. What they got was history. For 4 rounds, Alexa did the impossible. She matched bullet strike for strike. Then in round 4, a spinning back kick straight from her childhood daydreams, Valentina stumbled, Alexa pounced, and just like that, Mexico had its first UFC women's champion via the unlikeliest rear-naked choke in history. In the locker room, Alexa didn't celebrate. She apologized to Valentina for her tears. Grace, it turns out, hits harder than fists. Most champions change after gold. Not Alexa. She still trains 6 days a week, still lives in her childhood neighborhood. Still that same girl who bows to her opponents, just now with a belt over her shoulder. Her title defense against Shevchenko, a split draw that left no doubt this was no fluke. This was the arrival of Mexico's new fighting soul. Today, Alexa Grasso isn't just a champion, she's a quiet revolution. Proof that nice girls don't just finish last, they finish everything. And as she prepares for her next war, one thing's certain: the storm doesn't announce itself, it just arrives. They'll tell you Mexico's fighting heart lives in its knockout artists. Alexa Grasso proved it beats in the silence between punches. Smash that like if you're Team Grasso, subscribe for more UFC stories, and tell us in the comments, what's your favorite Grasso fight? Mahalo for watching, we're out.